Welcome back to our Retire Early lifestyle. Now, in my last video, we talked about the expat bubble, how rising costs, local resentment, and safety concerns are making life in places on top retirement lists like Panama and Portugal a lot harder than it used to be. Look, we have to address the elephant in the living room. The expat dream of 2015 is not the reality of 2026. The 2026 math is changing. Let's talk about the 5 U.S. states that are actually cheaper and safer than an expat bubble hub right now. Are you ready for the USA versus expat hubs reality check? Our first state on our list is Tennessee, the Panama killer. Tennessee has no state income tax, plus a high safety rating in areas like Cumberland County. Take a look at Crossville, Tennessee versus Boquete, Panama. If you head to the Cumberland Plateau in Tennessee, areas like Crossville or Fairfield Glade, you're looking at some of the highest safety ratings in the country. We're talking about quiet, wooded communities where people actually look out for one another. You get that small town front porch safety that's becoming harder and harder to find in foreign expat enclaves. Plus, you have Nashville to your west and Chattanooga to your south, both cities less than an hour's drive away at approximately 40 miles to either city. Though Crossville is large enough that it has everything you need right there. And here's the kicker: the rent versus the reality check. In those popular Panama enclaves like Coronado or Boquete, rents for a safe, modern condo have been creeping up toward the $2,000 or $2,500 a month range. In these beautiful Tennessee mountain communities, you can still find average rents well under $1,800 a month for a high-quality home with a yard and a view. Here's just an example of some of those right here. This is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home with views of the mountains in the background. I like these kinds of comments from our viewers. It provides us with excellent video ideas and more reality information for you. This lady changed my mind about moving to Panama. I decided to retire in Tennessee, a great area, rents well under $2,000, and I don't have to adjust to a new culture. You get the mountains, you get the 4 seasons, and most importantly, you get to keep your money and your peace of mind. For a lot of people watching this, Tennessee is the plan B that actually makes more sense than Panama. All right, let's move on to state number 2. I call this one the Value King, and it's Missouri. Now, I know Missouri might not be on everyone's retirement bingo card, but if you were looking at the Portuguese Algarve for that waterfront lifestyle but got scared off by the 2026 tax hikes, you need to look at Lake of the Ozarks. Beautiful area. Here is the math reality check. Effective in 2024 and moving into 2026, Missouri has officially made Social Security benefits 100% tax-free at the state level. When you combine that with cost of living that sits nearly 15% below the national average, your pension goes remarkably far. Think about the Algarve dream for a second. You're looking at paying over $7 a gallon for gas just to drive to the beach, and your grocery bill for imported comfort foods that everybody loves from home is skyrocketing. Here's Camdenton, Missouri, quaint town surrounded by rolling hills and beautiful lakes. This would be a desirable location to live in. In Camdenton, Missouri, you're looking at $3.40 for gas, some of the most affordable high-quality beef and produce in the country. And here's the big one. People move to Portugal for the water. Missouri offers a domestic alternative that feels like a vacation spot but functions like home. Something we've said many times on this channel: make your home a place that you won't want to leave and move abroad. But it's not always just about the money, is it? It's about the infrastructure. One of the biggest expat bubble frustrations I hear from you all in the comments is the unreliable power grids and the crumbling plumbing in those affordable European villages. In Missouri's lake communities, you would have world-class utilities, high-speed fiber internet for your side hustles, and most importantly, healthcare. Instead of waiting months for a specialist or paying for expensive expat private insurance in a foreign country, you have access to some of the top-rated medical centers in the Midwest right here in your own backyard, all covered by your standard Medicare. You get the lake, the boating, and the sunset views, but you trade the foreign bureaucracy for middle American stability. If you want a waterfront retirement that actually respects your budget, Missouri is the winner. State number 3, Arkansas, the nature haven. And this is for the nature lovers who are looking at the mountains of Costa Rica or the hills of central Portugal. I call Arkansas the nature haven. Now, if you've been following the expat bubble news we've been making videos on lately, you know that places like Costa Rica are seeing a massive surge in property taxes and luxury taxes on foreign-owned homes. But in Arkansas, we're talking about some of the lowest property taxes in the entire United States, averaging around 0.62%. Think about that for a second. If you were looking at a $300,000 retirement cottage in a foreign country, you'd be dealing with layers of gringo tax and rising local fees. In Arkansas, that same $300,000 home in a place like Hot Springs Village or the Ozark Mountains keeps your fixed monthly costs incredibly low. And let's talk about the gated reality. Oh, you guys are gonna love this. One of the biggest reasons people move to these safe expat enclaves abroad is for security. But in the comments of my last video, so many of you mentioned the barbed wire fatigue, the feeling of living in a beautiful cage because the area outside the gates isn't safe for you to walk at night. Well, looky here what I found for you today. This will be an eye-opener for many that are watching this video right now. In Arkansas, you have communities like Hot Springs Village, here it is on the map, which is the largest gated community in the U.S. You get 11 lakes, 9 golf courses, and miles of hiking trails. And you can walk those trails at sunset without a second thought. It's that safe. It's a safe harbor feeling without the language barrier or the political instability we're seeing in some of these other budget expat destinations in 2026. And for the math lovers, Arkansas has been aggressively cutting their state income tax over the last few years. Your retirement income is being protected here. You get the lakes, the hot springs, and the clean mountain air, but you trade the foreign paperwork for American peace and quiet. If you want a retirement where nature is your front yard and your budget is protected by some of the best tax laws in the country, Arkansas is your winner. Now, moving on to state number 4, South Carolina. For everyone who had their heart set on the Portuguese Algarve, or the coast of Spain, I call South Carolina the Algarve of the East, and it's beautiful. We all know the dream, a little coastal town, fresh seafood, and mild winters. But in 2026, if you move to the Algarve, you're walking into a tax trap. As we mentioned, those 0% tax days for new residents are gone. You could be handing over nearly half of your pension to a foreign government. In South Carolina, the math is the exact opposite. They have a massive homestead exemption for those of you 65 and older. The first $50,000 of your home's fair market value is completely exempt from local property taxes. That's a huge thank you for choosing to retire there. But after doing even more research, it looks like the exemption is going up to the amount of $75,000 and $150,000 of the property's value, depending on how long you've been living as a South Carolina resident. And let's talk about the healthcare gap. I see so many stories in our community about expats in Europe or Mexico who have a minor health scare and suddenly realize their foreign private insurance doesn't cover a med evac back to the U.S. or the local clinic doesn't have the specialists they need. In South Carolina, places like Beaufort or Myrtle Beach, you have that coastal lifestyle, the golf courses, the Atlantic breezes. But you also have world-class American hospitals that take your Medicare. You're not guessing if the doctor speaks your language or if your expat policy will actually pay the bill when it matters the most. You trade the foreign language barrier for Southern hospitality. You get the beach, you get to keep your Social Security tax-free. Yes, South Carolina does not tax Social Security. And you have the peace of mind knowing you're in a state that actually wants retirees to stay and thrive. If you want the coastal life without the international tax headaches, South Carolina is the winner. And finally, we have state number 5. This is for the people who are looking for the absolute plan B, those who are looking at the cheapest parts of Southeast Asia or Central America because they're working with a fixed budget. Well, I call West Virginia the budget secret. Shh, don't tell anybody. Here is why the 2026 math is so incredible here. West Virginia has officially phased out the tax on Social Security benefits. It is now 100% tax-free at the state level. And when you combine that with a cost of living that is consistently 20% below the U.S. national average, you're looking at one of the few places in America where you can still live a very comfortable, high-quality life on just $2,500 a month. Yes, you heard that right. And if you haven't seen the latest discussion yet on the new cheap budget for Panama and Portugal, you can forget about $1,000 a month. It's now $3,000 or more. Surprise! Well, not to us. It's not a surprise. Now let's do the reality check on those cheap overseas spots. When people move to places like the mountains of Thailand or rural Panama to save money, they often forget about the convenience tax. You're paying for imported food, expensive international flights to see your grandkids, and the constant cost of renewing visas. In West Virginia, places like Shepherdstown or Morgantown, you have the stunning Appalachian Mountains, some of the best hiking and fishing in the country. And you're within a day's drive of almost half the U.S. population. And in case you have mixed feelings about $7 avocado toast in Lisbon, just know that avocado prices have dropped. They're 55 cents each now. They were $3 each in southern Italy. And let's talk about the true safety. In those ultra-budget foreign spots, you often deal with what I call utility anxiety. Will the water be on today? Is the internet fast enough for my Zoom calls? Well, in West Virginia, you have American infrastructure. You have reliable power, clean water, and high-speed internet. You trade the foreign uncertainty for small-town reliability. You get the mountain air, you keep your entire Social Security check, and you're still close to everything and everyone you love. If you want the ultimate low-cost, high-peace retirement, West Virginia is the secret winner. So there you have it, folks. The math for 2026 is telling a different story than it did 10 years ago, isn't it? Moving abroad is a beautiful adventure. We've done it and we loved it, but it's not the only way to retire early on a budget anymore. Whether it's the tax-free life in Tennessee, the lakefront value of Missouri, or the mountain peace of West Virginia, the new American dream might just be right here at home. But now, I want to hear from you. Are you someone who's been looking at Portugal or Panama or Costa Rica and is now reconsidering because of these tax hikes or visa changes? Or maybe you already live in one of these 5 states. What is the real world math like in your town? Drop a comment below. Let's help each other figure this out, because at the end of the day, it's not about where you live. It's about having the financial freedom to live your life on your terms. If you found this reality check helpful, show this video to other retirees who might be feeling priced out and looking for a way home. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care and bye-bye.